This is my area, and we're on the first floor, and this is the work area over out where you're seeing, and this is my area, okay, or the observers area. Behind me are the flags. There are, there are blues behind me, and there are all kinds of supply bags. Okay, I'm with you now. I'm up to you.
Okay. He's going through the bags to separate everything out so they can get ready for the next election.
Okay.
And he's pulling all of the unused ballots. He's putting a sticky note on here so
okay.
they'll know what ward and what precinct
okay.
these are.
All right.
Then when the cart gets filled, they're going to take them upstairs and secure them in the tabulation room upstairs.
Okay. The tabulation room in the double locked or in the vault or what?
In the cage area.
In the cage area. I don't know if it's going to be inside those doors. I just know
okay.
it's in that cage area.
Okay.
The other supplies over here, they're just going through sorting everything out to get it squared away for the next election.
Okay.
So this is the first process of him going through the bags just to separate everything.
Okay.
Whatever election day supplies that the poll workers have.
Okay.
Just to get separated so everything is together.
Okay. And I have a question. Are the unused ballots here ever going to be joined with the unused ballots at the board?
I do not have an answer for that question. These are any questions that you have, I need to write down so I can get them addressed.
Okay.
Because I do not know.
Okay.
The whole process of what these are going to be used for, if they're going to be merged with the other ones. So the questions that you have, I need to write them all down.
Okay.
So that we can be clear on just the questions that you have and get you those answers.
So unused ballots here. Will they ever be merged with the unused at the board on 30th? Are you allowed to touch those ballots? Because I'm wondering if those are absentees or if they're unused poll ballots.
These are from the poll. These are what they use election day.
At the polls?
At the polls.
Okay. Okay, so these are election day. So all unused absentees would be at the board. Is that correct?
I'm not going to make any speculation or anything.
You got it. I understand, Dennis. I totally understand. You do what you need to do, and I'm doing what I need to do.
Absolutely.
We're on the same page. I'm probably going to sit down in a second and write down my questions too for me, just to remember, just so that we know.
And I mean, and the thing with the poll books, I need to get clarification on the poll books because I know certification for that is coming up on the 25th, which is a whole nother situation for the observers.
Okay.
And I don't know all the guidelines for the observers, and I think that your request for the poll books and whatever they're doing, I have to ask that question. And Linda Steinley knows, because she knows all the ins and outs and the do's and don'ts, and to answer that question.
Okay. To clarify, I don't necessarily want to go through the poll books.
You just want to see what they're doing.
Yes.
Exactly. And that's my case in point, just to say I have to see if that's okay, because I don't know what is okay and what's not okay, what we can and can't do. And I know you just want to see them doing them and whatever it is that they're doing. I know they're supposed to be doing something with justification for provisionals, because they are checking provisionals, but I don't know as far as your end goes. Somewhere in the paperwork, I think it said observers for election day only. So spilling over into another process, that's what I'm not unclear on.
Okay.
And I need to get clarification.
I don't have.
You might already know.
I do. And I don't have the law with me.
Okay.
But you might want to check with Linda. The law says that observers who have been assigned to the Board of Elections as the main observer, not all the extras, because, to clarify, the board, the Cuyahoga board, allowed a main observer assigned to the Board of Elections. But because there were 3 different locations simultaneously happening, they allowed 2 more alternate observers.
Right.
Okay? And so, but the main observer at the Board of Elections is allowed to watch through certification. Is allowed to watch all the counting reconciliation process.
Okay.
Through certification.
Okay.
Right. And so that's what the law says. I don't think I have the law with me. I'll stop and see it. But I think it's 3505.21. That's
3505.
.21. I'm pretty sure that that's the ORC.
Okay. We'll check.
Okay.
So
that's why I'm here.
You're the main observer, so you would be allowed through
certification.
Through certification, and that would include, I mean, that's including processes here and at the board. I mean, anywhere where there's a process.
It would have to.
Of the election.
Right.
And certification.
Anything that would impact the counting of the ballots, which would include poll book, reconciliation, etc. I understand that the competing interests are voters' personal information. I'm not trying to impact on that.
Right.
I understand that there's a competing interest of impeding an election. I'm not trying to impede an election. I mean, 5 minutes of me observing in an off area and asking a few questions and then being done, I go away, I don't believe is impeding an election. I'm not stopping these folks.
And I think because of our staff doing the escorting for you, a lot of those questions we have to get clear. We have to go back and ask so that we're clear in our understanding and we don't have any misinterpretation on our part or your part or anyone else in the information that's being disseminated.
Right,
So.
I totally understand. I mean, as long as you're asking questions, I'd really like to know why the observers, for what purpose the observers have to be. I'm not objecting to an escort.
Right.
I've asked for escorts in past years, but and I love Francisco, I think, and I love you too.
Okay.
It's not about you guys.
I understand, and I'm not taking it personal. I just want to be clear, so
Me too.
when you do have a question and a situation comes up, we can address it according to the format that's allowing us to address it.
Right.
And there's nothing, I mean, there's no...
It's not about personal.
Because of our staff doing the escorting for you, a lot of those questions we have to get clear. We have to go back and ask so that we're clear in our understanding and we don't have any misinterpretation on our part or your part or anyone else in the information that's being disseminated.
Right,
So.
I totally understand. I mean, as long as you're asking questions, I'd really like to know why the observers, for what purpose the observers have to be. I'm not objecting to an escort.
Right.
I've asked for escorts in past years, but and I love Francisco, I think, and I love you too.
Okay.
It's not about you guys.
I understand,
But
and I'm not taking it personal. I just want to be clear, so
Me too.
when you do have a question and
Me
a situation comes up, we can address it according to the format that's allowing us to address it.
Right.
And there's nothing, I mean, there's no...
It's not about personal.
It's not about personal.
No.
This is not this is just
Right.
strictly business for what you need to do. And
I'm
for
doing what I need to do,
my
and you
task
guys
that they
are doing
assign
what
me
you need to do. Okay, so we're both on the same page.
We're good. We're good.
But I also would like to know why observers have to have someone sitting next to them when observers are in plain sight of the escort. For instance, yesterday, Christine I asked Christine if she could ask Emily the question, since neither Brent nor Mike were there. And I know that the past 2 years, Emily in provisionals had the answers because she's handling a lot of that.
Okay.
And so I just asked Christine. I didn't say I'm going out from behind the table. I wasn't breaking any rules. Christine did not feel comfortable, and Priscilla was approximately where the guy in the red shirt is over there, okay? Talking to someone, okay? Christine did not even feel comfortable leaving, and I was sitting down. I was seated. I wasn't dancing in front of the table, okay?
Right.
Christine could not feel comfortable sitting here to go get Priscilla
Over there.
to sit next to me. She needed to wait, and Priscilla was done with her conversation to bring Priscilla over so Priscilla could sit next to me so that she could go ask Emily a question. I find that offensive. I mean, I find it personally offensive. Do you understand?
I do understand. I'm going to take responsibility for Emily in that situation because Christine
I'm not talking about
she did
Emily.
call me, but in my mind, and I didn't remember Emily. I knew somebody had to be on the floor, but I couldn't pull those names together.
No, that's fine.
So that's why when I said Brent and Patrick, I knew that they had the answers.
Were you talking about Pat McAuley?
Yes.
Okay.
Emily does also, but Emily didn't come to mind.
It wasn't about that. It
Okay.
wasn't about that. It's about, I mean, why does someone at the board
If you're
not
in plain
trust Adele Eisner to sit there, to get up from next to Adele Eisner, to go over and walk to Priscilla, who was engaged in a conversation? I mean, what does the board think that the observers, me or the observers, I'm not taking it personally actually, but I do find it personally offensive because I have stuck up to the board for 4 years. And to have someone say that they can't leave my side, I don't know what they're expecting me to do. I've never broken the board's trust. You tell me the rules, if they're reasonable, I'm following. I'm just trying to do what I need to do, and I'm being open about it.
Okay. And that's a question that I will ask.
Okay.
And I know that somewhere, and I don't know if it was in the observer paperwork that says someone must be with you at all times.
Yeah, but
I mean, I know. There you go. I mean, I heard you mention the other day, letter of the law and spirit of the law.
Well,
And,
yeah, it's not as if she walked from here to there, she could have stopped me had I jumped out in front and started running through and looking at envelopes. She would have been, no more than 40 feet away from me, and I was in plain sight.
Okay.
I might have to copy your questions. That's okay with you. I'll just make brief notes. I'll remember. As long as you know what they mean. I'm not copying them verbatim. I just want to...
My chicken scratch.
Okay. That's okay. You can read them off to me if you want.
No, that's, I mean, yeah.
Just the idea of them. And my last question down here, as I'm looking over here at these supplies, is were there maps sent out to the polls?
Yes, there was a precinct map in every bag, in the bags.
I was at 6 polls and not one of them had a map. Not one of them. They all claimed they had no map.
In their bags.
All I can say.
And that was the purpose of the polling location coordinator. So when you came into the polls, a map is on the wall. If you do not know your precinct,
not one of them.
We come over to the map and say, okay, do the street guide and find where you are, and then you go to such and such a table.
Not one of them.
In 6 polling locations.
6 polling locations in Cleveland Heights.
Cleveland Heights, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. They called for maps. And actually, I was in the poll.
And they were not in any of the bags.
I didn't go through their bags.
Well, but I mean, they said they didn't have. They said they did not have any maps.
And they were
polling location maps.
Right. Right. One person came in. He belonged at, instead of at the Lee Road Library, he belonged at Boulevard School.
And there was no in all 6 locations.
All 6 locations. Not one of them had a map. They all claimed they didn't have a map. And the woman, the polling location coordinator at Lee Road, was trying to find a map. She said she had been looking for a map because the man who walked in, thinking that was his polling location, she gave him the number to call to find the polling location. It was a Boulevard School in Cleveland Heights, but she did not. She said, "I'm sorry, I don't have a map to show you how to get there." I explained it to him because I know the Heights pretty well.
Okay. Remember the names of those 6 locations?
Well, I know Lee Road Library, University Heights Library. I'm just trying to remember. Taylor Road Academy. I was at Fair Hill Center. They didn't tell me they didn't have maps, but they didn't have maps up. They actually didn't have signage up to find the polling location. It was on the 2nd floor. Nobody knew, I mean, people followed me and nobody knew how to get there. The poor, I don't know what happened after the receptionist for the Fair Hill Center left. I went to go look at the midday pickup, but there were no maps up there.
That's the aging center or the old, right there on the corner at the top of Fair Hill?
Yeah, where Kim was. Kim was for a while. And I didn't stay at any of them.
Right.
But, I mean, that's a pattern. That's not, you know, it's not, it's a pattern. Okay. I didn't pick out where don't they have maps and go find them.
You just went into, you were at these locations and they just did not have maps.
Yeah. And Lee Road and Taylor Road Academy for sure were feeling the loss of the map. I also heard in the polling in the poll worker department, them saying that they don't have maps to send out with calls coming in. I overheard them taking calls, so that was a pattern problem.
Okay.
No. You got in the city of Cleveland, you got precinct map. Cleveland Heights, you got city map. And a vote location on one map.
But isn't it like oversized? So if I come in,
right.
I don't know where I'm voting, that polling location coordinator, go over to the map and tell you where to go. Right. Okay.
They didn't know where to find them, I guess.
Well, I'll ask.
They should have been in the red bag, apparently.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Cleveland Heights, was it Cleveland Heights?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, they had a map in the red bag.
In the red bag.
Okay.
They didn't know where to find them.
Okay. Was photo. You start going
Okay.
Cleveland Heights, probably.
And I have
I
one.
know that was just in the training and in knowing what the polling location coordinator does. That was one of their, they're the troubleshooters.
I know.
The main line as soon as you come in the door.
Well, that first night, Monday night setup, the first night, the polling location coordinator, especially at Lee Road, and I ran over to University Heights, they were both hanging on the phone. They couldn't get through to the poll worker department. So they were hung up. I mean, the Lee Road was on the phone waiting for 20 minutes, so over 20 minutes, at which point maybe it wasn't the smartest thing for me to do, but I didn't call that department. I called Kim to see if she was still in her office upstairs, and she got my message down so that the PLC could get to work and have both hands. Yeah.
And you were going to say you had another question?
One more question, and then I think I'm done. The green bags, are they supposed to come back in the red bags? Let
me see which bag they come back in. I know they come back in one of the red or the blue. They come back in one of those.
They're supposed to come back in either the red or the blue?
Either the red or the blue, but I'm not sure exactly which one it is, because
right.
one is for supply, like poll worker supplies.
Yeah.
And the other one is for like ballots and things pertaining to the
Okay.
They're going through. Going through everything.
Okay. Are there any that weren't in the bags that were just laying upstairs?
I do not know. I don't think they should have been, because coming straight from the polling location, they should be in the bag. So to be upstairs and out, is that?
I don't know. I know that there are unused ballots at the board. I'm gonna
And again, those could be the absent, the vote by mail ones.
That's what I'd like to find out. Yeah. Are there any replacement red bags? Because some were broken when they came back.
Replacement red bags.
They're just taking out poll books now?
Those are ballots.
I thought there were books there with red on the top. No, to his right hand, that pile to the right hand. If you look at that.
It's a header card for ward and precinct.
Go through that pile and you might find a poll book. It looked like a poll book. The bottom two piles look like poll books. Why would they have so many ballots? So many different sizes of piles. So the header cards went out to the polls? And they came back? with the in the ballot box?
It's an identification card on there, just like these right here. It's an identification card to say the ward and precinct. What
Got
the
it.
different colors mean. There's some green ones on the other ones, pink ones on those. Could be Democrat, Republican ballots.
Got it. Got it. You're right. You're right. You're absolutely right. So it's not so much that I have sensitive skin,
Okay.
but the cleaner you get inside, the more sensitive you are to what's outside.
Okay.
Yeah. So they have the envelopes with the stubs over there? What was the envelopes on the other side? The little envelopes. Are those the stub envelopes? If you hold one up. Do you see them? The little 8.5 by, huh?
Voter assistance tab envelopes. Yes. Voter assistance tab envelopes.
Oh, were those what they gave to people, like Judge 3's, what ballot the person was getting?
I don't know.
Judge 1 and 2 were supposed to hand Judge 3 the right.
I'm not sure. Voter assistance.
He just took the cell phone out. Is this where you're collecting all the cell phones too?
Everything that's in the bags are going to be separated for.
The cell phones. The cell phones didn't have a volume control on them. You couldn't hear.
On the cell phone?
Taylor, go. You're allowed to touch that cell phone. I'm not. The Taylor Road Academy.
We believe everything is in.
Okay. And they're using them for the blues. You're on. They're using M100s for the ward.
City of Cleveland
ward.
special primary election for city council. They're using the M100s for this election on Tuesday, March the 18th.
Okay. And so they're not going to tabulate the paper on the 650s. They're going to accumulate the totals from memory cards from the M100s?
There are memory cards there. I need to get clarification on that to see if they're going to do both or just the memory cards would be your question.
That's my question.
The tabulation process is going to be for the results just from the memory cards or from the paper ballots themselves.
Right, that's my question. When is that election? It's on the 7th?
Tuesday. This coming Tuesday.
Okay. Who did they borrow the M100 from? Do you know?
No, I do not. Another county, a couple other counties. I'm not sure who it was, what counties they were.
Not from ES&S though.
They're ES&S
I know, M1.
Oh, correct. No, they're not from ES&S. These are from another county.
Got it. We're not paying for them.
I'll add that question.
All right. Do you know if the M650s are gone from upstairs?
No, they're not.
Okay.
The M100.
What I can't understand is how the Secretary of State would say the M100s are so susceptible to infrared manipulation, Palm Pilot manipulation, and now she's having us tabulate with them.
Say that again?
Secretary of State, from her Everest report, it showed that the M100s, one of the reasons that she wanted to go to central count was because the M100s especially are very susceptible to somebody else's manipulation. With a Palm Pilot, with the infrared port on the Palm Pilot, it can talk to the tabulator, the memory card on the M100s. That's in the Everest report. Yeah, and so it's just, I just find it fascinating how she's going back and forth. I don't understand. I don't understand the whole thing. Pardon me? No, I prefer that there are some sort of precinct totals. It's not, I prefer paper ballots and I prefer precinct totals, but it's odd that the reason that she wanted central count is now, she's now backtracking on it. She's using the very reason, I don't know. You understand what I'm saying.
I will tell you something.
The doors. Like Matt smiling. Right, you know. Huh? Talking. One question. That is the Board of Elections door.
is. Yes, it is. This is Lee's space by the Halley people, whoever they are.
Oh, yeah. They got name here one time.
Greystone Properties, it says
Okay,
outside.
Greystone. They own a lot of properties around here.
So, when we come back to the board, to go to the second floor, Francisco can take me to the second floor.
Francisco is your escort.
And can Francisco show me the unused ballots at the board?
That's another question, because I have no idea about the unused ballots there.
Can you find that out when we go back, we might be able to see something other than?
I will. Yes, I will.
Okay. And Linda's not available?
She should be. I think she's just not at her desk when you call, but she would be the one. I mean, she's the one that's like, okay, here's the situation.
I'll call her when I'm on the way over to see if.
She knows that Mike is sick.
Yeah, DeFranco is sick, but Emily,
Right.
if you could just write all your questions for there, if you could write them down, and then we'll just submit them, and then they can get them answered.
Right.
As opposed to
the one thing, yeah. I told Linda my questions. They're basically very simple. It's about what percentage done are they, about what percentage rejected and accepted, etc. And I'm not writing them down basically because Sunshine Law says I don't have to.
Right, right.
There is you're talking about provisional.
So you're saying that's not like a records request, or
A
it's
records
just
request, I don't have to. I mean,
Okay.
Sunshine, the law says I don't have to write my questions
Okay.
or my requests. Yeah.
Okay.
I can orally make them. So, I mean, it's not real tough stuff. Usually.
It's just the person there to answer those questions.
Right.
That has that information.
Yeah,
Right.
you can write it
Like
informally,
DeFranco.
like it make it easier for the person to get a response to you.
Right.
DeFranco is out sick, and I'm not sure what Brent and
DeFranco gets sick after every election.
He's got a lot.
He does.
He's got a lot of responsibilities.
Is
so
this
I'm
the
sure.
blue flu or what? Last year DeFranco was sick after, no, he really sounded sick last
He
year.
probably was.
Yeah.
He probably
A
was.
lot of people get sick with this weather.
I know. Go right ahead.
Hey now, all right, how you doing today?
Okay, so maybe we can. Oh, those are tabs. Those are 17-year-old envelopes. Those are tabs. Those are bibs units. I don't know what soiled means. Soiled optical scan ballots, and they're signed. That doesn't seem like a very secure way of keeping them. Are you allowed to touch that stuff? That's part of the board's record keeping. That's not real good. Stuff in these.
supplies or material from the...
I don't know. The second big dam.
I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. That's okay. Okay. I'm gonna stop here and take a picture. I'll see you at the board. I'll check in at community outreach when I come.